You're listening to a very special interview here on the Boxing Truth Radio. We have featherweight Juan Manuel Lopez of Puerto Rico. He'll be returning to the ring October 1st against Mike Oliver, but we have him here live on the show.
Yeah, you had a big fight in April against Orlando Salido. It was a back-and-forth action war. A lot of people had you a big favorite going into the fight. I'm sure you've dealt with a lot of criticism following it. What are your thoughts about that fight and how it's changed your career?
Realmente esa pelea se dieron muchas cosas, la persona que es una persona de vida, estaba concentrado correctamente, pero ya aprendimos de esa derrota, ahora es cuestión de enfocarnos, y hacer nuestro trabajo y dejar los problemas personales a un lado.
Juan Manuel's response was, he wasn't completely focused for the fight with Orlando Salido. This time around, he's focused again. He's dealt with whatever personal issues might have been in the way, and, he's completely focused on the sport of boxing.
Yuriorkis Gamboa just fought Ponce de Leon last night. He says he wants to move up in weight. He states that there's not a whole lot of big fights within his division. What are your thoughts on Gamboa and his performance last night? Were you able to see it?
Yo creo que hizo una gran pelea, a pesar de todo. No lució como yo pensaba que iba a lucir, pero consideró un peleador muy fuerte, definitivamente. Pero lo importante es que ganó y sigue elaborando su camino hacia adelante en su carrera, y más adelante con enfrentaremos.
He said, it was a good performance. Daniel Ponce de Leon is a difficult fighter, but, Gamboa came out with the victory and did what he had to do, and hopefully they'll find themselves again in the future for a bout. I'm going to follow up with the question of Gamboa wanting to exit the featherweight class. What his thoughts are on that.
Nosotros vamos a hacer la revancha contra Salido. Lo importante era ganarle a Mike Oliver, luego ganar la Salido y eventualmente vamos a las 130 libras, efectivamente. Yo creo que Gamboa habló un poco de más en decir que no hay peleadores de gran calidad en esa división. Definitivamente él está muy equivocado, porque ella perdió con Salido no significa que no hayan peleadores de gran calidad. Yo quiero decirle a Yuriorkis Gamboa que definitivamente nosotros estamos dispuestos a pelear con él ya instantáneamente. Yo peleo con Mike Oliver, y si sigue él, pues seguimos con él, que pelear con Salido. Gamboa lució muy bien, un gran peleador, pero estoy diciendo lo mismo. Gamboa, el día que se enfrenta a mí, Gamboa pierde, no porque haya perdido con Salido, sino que me va a ganar a mí. Él es un gran peleador, pero definitivamente el hecho de que él diga de que no hay peleadores en esta división está de más. Hablo de más, y si él es el mejor, porque me gana a mí. Hasta que no me gana menos, que voy a pensar que es el mejor.
He's saying, Gamboa's moved out of the featherweight division might be a little bit premature. If he thinks there aren't great figures in the featherweight division, he's incorrect. Lopez is looking for that fight against Salido, the rematch, the fight on October 1st against Oliver, which will be carried on pay-per-view here in the United States. And then after that, if he's successful in those fights, he'd love to fight Yuriorkis Gamboa, and he believes he'd beat him.
A lot of fans and media state that you might be better off moving up a weight class or two due to your large frame and bone structure, especially at your walk-around weight when you're not fighting. What weight do you ultimately see yourself settling in a few years down the road?
Yo pienso mi idea es ir a las 135 libras, que es el peso que queremos hacer cuatro divisiones, lo que ningún puertorriqueño ha hecho. Pero si el cuerpo nos permite subir 5 divisiones, pues lo haremos. Eventualmente con el camino lo estaremos analizando.
He thinks 135 will be that ultimate division, once he gets up there comfortably, and it's kind of like where him and his team believe that he'll eventually end up at 135.
Okay, Juan Manuel Lopez, you're a student of the game. Obviously, you know boxing in and out. We have the big fight that everybody's looking forward to between Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Victor Ortiz. How do you see that fight playing out?
Va a ser una pelea fuerte. Definitivamente Víctor es un peleador que viene con muchas ganas de ser el mejor. Pero yo creo que la experiencia de Mayweather va a ser algo complicado para Víctor. Va a ser una pelea interesante, pero yo creo que lamentablemente por la experiencia de Mayweather, por estar acostumbrado a estar en estos escenarios, debe salir con la victoria. Pero Víctor sí pega muy fuerte, un peleador aguerrido, bravo, también puede sorprender, pero yo creo que en esta ocasión por Mayweather debe salir con la victoria.
He thinks that Victor Ortiz is going to come with a lot of energy, a lot of will to win, but ultimately Floyd Mayweather's the better fighter, and he's going to go ahead and walk away from that fight with his hand raised in victory. I'm going to ask him a question about his fight on October 1st against Mike Oliver. The fight will be available in the United States on pay-per-view throughout Latin America. With Mike Oliver, it'll also be available in the Pacific Rim, some of the Asian countries. You got any final questions, Mr. John Chavez?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask him about, I guess, the state of Puerto Rican boxing. Here in the States, it's floundering a little bit. It's had better times, but, we've seen some of the great Puerto Rican fighters, such as yourself, Juan Manuel Lopez, Felix Trinidad, Miguel Cotto. What is his thoughts on the current state of boxing on the island of Puerto Rico?
El deporte de boxeo en Puerto Rico es definitivamente el deporte número uno, aparte del baloncesto, de la pelota. El deporte de boxeo es muy importante, y aquí en Puerto Rico de cada día salen muchos peleadores con gran renombre, y yo creo que Puerto Rico sí ha demostrado que el deporte de boxeo.
He thinks it's in a perfect state, just like basketball and baseball. Boxing is one of the main sports in Puerto Rico. There's youngsters coming up, and he thinks it's going to be in a good position going on into the future. We'd like to thank Juan Manuel Lopez for taking some time to come onto the Boxing Truth Radio, answer a few questions, interact with us, and we want to wish him the best luck October 1st against Mike Oliver.